Glass explodes inward. The cafe window shatters into 1,000 glittering pieces, scattering across marble floors like frozen rain. Screams erupt. Tables overturn. Coffee spills in dark rivers across white tile. Kael Draven doesn't flinch. He's already moving, body angled toward the threat, one hand shoving the small boy behind him, the other reaching for the concealed weapon at his spine. His pupils dilate. His breathing steadies. Every muscle in his 6'4" frame coils with lethal precision. The boy clutches Kael's leather jacket with tiny fists. Outside, tires screech against asphalt. A black sedan speeds past, windows tinted dark as smoke. No shots follow the warning. Just destruction. Just fear. Kael's jaw tightens. They know where he is. The cafe falls silent except for whimpering and the crunch of glass beneath shoes. Holiday garlands still frame the broken window, red and gold tangled with shards. Cinnamon scent mingles with gunpowder residue. Winter sunlight pours through the jagged hole, illuminating dust particles suspended in air. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. The boy Zavi, he'd said his name was, trembles against Kael's back but doesn't cry. 6 years old and already learning to swallow terror. Kael hates that he recognizes the skill. You protected me, Zavi whispers. Kael doesn't respond. He scans the street through the shattered frame, counting exits, identifying cover points, calculating how many seconds it would take for a secondary attack. His phone vibrates in his pocket. Once, twice. His second-in-command wouldn't call unless it was critical. The waiter, a lean man in a black vest, crawls from behind the counter, face chalk white. What just happened? Stay down, Kael orders. His voice carries the kind of authority that ends arguments. Zavi's fingers dig deeper into the jacket. Are they coming back? Kael finally looks down at the boy. Curly hair matted with sweat, brown eyes too wide, white hoodie spotted with coffee from someone's dropped cup. He shouldn't have approached Kael's table 20 minutes ago. Shouldn't have smiled like danger didn't exist. Shouldn't have said, "You can come to my house for Christmas." The invitation still sits in Kael's chest like a blade between ribs. He crouches to Zavi's eye level, keeping his body positioned as a shield toward the window. Listen to me. When I tell you to move, you run to the back door. You don't stop. You don't look back. Understand? Zavi nods, but his bottom lip quivers. What about you? I'll be right behind you. It's a lie. Kael never runs. He eliminates threats or dies trying. But the boy doesn't need to know that. Sirens wail in the distance, growing louder. Police response time in this neighborhood is 4 minutes. Whoever attacked won't risk a confrontation with law enforcement. Not yet. This was reconnaissance. A message. We can reach you anywhere. Kael's phone stops vibrating and immediately starts again. He pulls it out with his free hand, eyes still locked on the street. A text from Marcus, his beta. Boss, we found the leak. You need to see this. Now. Another text follows before Kael can respond. It's about the woman and her kid. Kael's blood turns to ice. He looks at Zavi again, really looks this time. The boy stares back with devastating trust. Like Kael is a hero instead of the monster parents warn their children about. Like an invitation to Christmas dinner means something. Why did you sit at my table? Kael asks quietly. Zavi's expression softens into something achingly honest. Because you looked lonely. Like me. The words hit harder than the gunfire. Kael has eliminated men for less than a perceived insult. He's burned businesses to ash for competition. He's built an empire on fear and precision, and nobody has called him lonely in 15 years. Not since. The memory slams into him before he can block it. A different cafe. A different winter. A woman with dark eyes who promised forever and delivered a bullet instead. He shoves the thought down and stands, pulling Zavi up with him. We're leaving. Now. But before they can move toward the back exit, the front door crashes open. A woman bursts inside, breathless, wild-eyed, scanning the destruction with rising panic. Her braids whip around her shoulders as she spins, searching. Zavi! The boy gasps and breaks from Kael's grip. Mom! She runs to him, dropping to her knees and pulling him into a crushing embrace. Her hands shake as she checks him for injuries, smoothing his hair, pressing her forehead to his. Then she lifts her gaze and sees Kael. The world narrows to that single moment. Recognition flashes across her face like lightning, shock, then horror, then something far more dangerous. Hatred. She knows him. Kael's mind races backward, flipping through faces and names and operations. He catalogs her features with the same precision he uses to identify threats. High cheekbones, scar above her left eyebrow. The way she holds her body suggests military or law enforcement training. And then it clicks. Detroit, 7 years ago, a smuggling operation gone wrong. Gunfire in an abandoned warehouse. A man who threw himself in front of someone else, taking 3 bullets to the chest. A man whose file Kael reviewed afterward because he needed to understand why anyone would make that choice. Zavi's father. The woman stands slowly, positioning herself between Kael and her son. Her voice shakes with barely controlled rage. You. One word. An accusation. A death sentence. Zavi looks between them, confusion replacing fear. Mom? Do you know him? She doesn't answer. Her eyes bore into Kael with the weight of years, of grief, of a truth that will shatter the fragile connection formed in the last 20 minutes. Kael opens his mouth to explain, to defend, to say something, but she speaks first. Get away from my son. The café seems to hold its breath. Glass crunches beneath Kael's boots as he takes a single step backward, hands visible, non-threatening. But his mind is already calculating trajectories, plotting escapes, preparing for the violence he knows is coming. Because women who look at him like that don't forgive. They destroy. Zavi grabs his mother's hand. Mom, he saved me. When the window broke, I know exactly what he does. She cuts him off. Her voice drops to something cold and lethal. He destroys families. Kael's chest tightens painfully. He wants to argue. Wants to explain that he didn't pull the trigger, that it was crossfire, that the man made his own choice. But the words stick in his throat because none of them erase the outcome. A man died. A boy grew up without a father. And Kael's empire rolled forward without hesitation. Zavi's mother takes a shaking breath, and when she speaks again, her words detonate like a grenade. He's the reason your father is dead. Silence. Absolute, crushing silence. Zavi's hand goes slack in hers. His eyes, those innocent, trusting eyes, swing toward Kael with dawning comprehension. The kind of comprehension that ruins childhood. Kael feels something inside him crack. Not guilt. He buried that emotion years ago, but something worse. Something that feels like the last piece of his humanity breaking free and bleeding out across shattered glass and spilled coffee. Zavi's bottom lip trembles. Is that true? Kael should say no, should lie, should do whatever it takes to preserve the boy's innocence for 5 more seconds. But he's never been good at mercy. Yes, the word lands like a corpse. Zavi stumbles backward, crashing into his mother's legs. Tears spill down his cheeks, not from the attack, but from betrayal. From learning too young that monsters wear human faces and sometimes protect you right before they destroy you. The waiter watches from behind the counter, frozen in horror. Somewhere outside, sirens grow deafening. Red and blue lights paint the cafe walls. Kael's phone vibrates again. Marcus, the threat, the leak, everything is collapsing. And for the first time in 15 years, Kael Draven doesn't know what move to make. Zavi's mother pulls her son closer, voice breaking. I want you to leave. Now. Before I do something we'll both regret. But Kael can't move, because through the broken window he sees it. The black sedan, circling back. Are you Team Kael or Team Mom? Drop your vote below. The sedan slows to a crawl outside the cafe. Kael's hand moves to his weapon before conscious thought kicks in. His body knows what his mind is still processing. This isn't over. The first attack was a test. This one is execution. Get down, he barks. But Zavi's mother doesn't move. She stands frozen, staring at Kael like he's speaking a language she refuses to understand. Her arms tighten around Zavi, who buries his face in her stomach. The sedan's engine rumbles like a predator's growl. Kael crosses the space between them in 3 strides and shoves them both toward the floor behind an overturned table. The mother gasps, fury flashing across her face, but survival instinct overrides pride. She curls around Zavi, shielding him with her entire body. "Don't touch us," she hisses. "Then stop making yourself a target," Kael shoots back. The waiter crawls toward them, phone clutched in shaking hands. "Police are 2 blocks away. They said to stay put," Kael finishes. Which is exactly what gets people killed. He peers over the table's edge. The sedan hasn't moved, just sitting there, windows dark, engine idling. Whoever's inside is watching, waiting. For what? Kael's mind races through possibilities. If they wanted him dead, they'd have opened fire already. If they wanted collateral damage, the café would be a smoking crater. This is strategic, personal. They want him to know he's being hunted. His phone buzzes. He pulls it out without breaking line of sight with the vehicle. "Marcus, boss." The woman's name is Zavi Hayes, former ATF. "She's been looking for you for 6 years." Kael's jaw clenches. ATF. That explains the military bearing, the controlled rage, the way she assesses threats. Another text. "Her husband wasn't collateral. He was the target, and you were the cover story." The information hits like a punch to the gut. Kael's operation in Detroit was clean, surgical, no civilian casualties. He'd made sure of it because messy jobs attract federal attention. But if someone framed him, used his presence to mask a different murder, who are they? Amara's voice cuts through his thoughts. She's staring at the sedan now, professional instincts overriding maternal terror. "The people in that car. Ghosts," Kael answers. "Or they will be." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have." Zavi lifts his head, eyes red-rimmed. "Are they bad guys?" Kael meets the boy's gaze and sees himself at that age. Small, scared, learning that adults lie and the world is cruel. He wants to tell Zavi that everything will be fine, that heroes exist, that Christmas dinner and gingerbread houses matter. But Kael's never been a hero. "Yes," he says simply. "They're bad guys. Are you a bad guy too?" The question hangs in the air like smoke. Amara's breath catches. The waiter stops moving. Even the sirens seem to fade, waiting for an answer that will define everything that follows. Kael opens his mouth, and the sedan's window rolls down. A gun barrel emerges from the darkness, not pointing at Kael, pointing at Zavi. Time fractures into slow motion. Kael sees the angle, calculates the trajectory, understands with perfect clarity that the shot will punch through the overturned table like it's made of paper. Amara sees it too. Her body already shifting, trying to cover more of Zavi, trying to make herself the bigger target. But she's not fast enough. Kael is. He launches himself across the space, body slamming into both of them, driving them sideways just as the gun erupts. The bullet tears through the air where Zavi's head was a heartbeat ago and embeds itself in the marble counter with a sharp crack. They hit the ground in a tangle of limbs. Amara's elbow catches Kael's ribs. Zavi's scream pierces the air. The waiter bolts toward the back exit, survival finally overriding shock. Another shot. This one shatters what's left of the front window. Kael rolls, positioning himself between the gunfire and the bodies beneath him. Glass bites into his shoulders through his jacket. His weapon is out now, held low, searching for a clean angle. "Stay down," he orders. "I know how to handle a firefight," Amara snaps, but her hands shake as she covers Zavi's ears, trying to muffle the sounds of violence. Kael risks a glance through the shattered storefront. The sedan hasn't moved. The shooter's arm is still extended, taking careful aim. No spray and pray, no panic, professional execution. Which means this isn't about sending a message anymore. This is assassination. Kael's mind shifts into combat mode, detached, calculating, lethal. He counts seconds between shots. 3, 4. Enough time to return fire if he moves fast. But if he shoots, he exposes Amara and Zavi. If he doesn't, they're dead anyway. When I move, he says quietly, you run for the kitchen. There's a back door. Don't stop until you hit the street. I'm not leaving you two. You're not leaving me to anything, Kael interrupts. You're keeping your son alive. That's the only thing that matters. Amara's eyes search his face, looking for deception, for strategy, for whatever game she thinks he's playing. But Kael's expression is carved from stone. Cold. Final. Why? She whispers. Why would you help us? Kael doesn't have an answer. Or maybe he does, but it's buried under 15 years of survival instincts that scream not to care, not to connect, not to let anyone matter. He saved the boy once. His body apparently decided to make it a habit. Go, he says instead of answering. Another shot punches through the cafe. Closer this time. The shooter is adjusting angles, compensating for their position. In 10 seconds, the table won't provide cover anymore. 5 seconds. 4. Kael surges upward, weapon raised, and fires 3 controlled bursts at the sedan. Not aiming to kill, aiming to disrupt. The shooter jerks back inside the vehicle. Tires screech. Now! Kael roars. Amara doesn't hesitate this time. She scoops Zavi into her arms and sprints toward the kitchen, moving with the trained efficiency of someone who's been under fire before. Zavi's face is buried in her shoulder, small body curled tight. The sedan's engine revs. Kael fires again, targeting the front tire. Rubber explodes. The vehicle lurches sideways, compensating for the blowout. Then it speeds away, dragging metal against asphalt, leaving a trail of sparks and the smell of burning rubber. Police cars round the corner 3 seconds later, lights blazing, sirens screaming. Kael lowers his weapon and lets it disappear back beneath his jacket before any officer has a clear line of sight. He stands slowly, glass falling from his shoulders like snow, and raises his hands in a non-threatening gesture. But his eyes track Amara's retreat. She pauses at the kitchen threshold, looking back at him. Her expression is war, gratitude and hatred, relief and rage, all fighting for dominance. Zavi lifts his head and stares at Kael over his mother's shoulder, and mouths 2 words, "Thank you." Then they're gone. The first officer bursts through the front door, weapon drawn. "Hands where I can see them." Kael complies, keeping his movements slow and deliberate. He knows this dance. He's performed it 100 times. Lawyer on speed dial, alibis prepared, witnesses who will swear he was nowhere near the violence. But for the first time in his career, he doesn't care about the legal machinery grinding into motion. He cares about the boy who said thank you, the boy whose father he supposedly killed, the boy who invited him to Christmas dinner. The officer shouts commands. More cops pour inside. Someone's checking him for weapons. They'll find the gun, but his permits are immaculate. Someone else is asking questions. He'll answer with practiced vagueness. But Kael's mind is somewhere else entirely. In a small home with gingerbread supplies and a tiny Christmas tree, with a woman who hates him and a boy who trusted him. And somewhere in the chaos of shattered glass and police procedure, Kael makes a decision that will either save them or destroy everything. He's going to find out who really killed Zavi's father. Would you protect a stranger's child? Comment your answer. The police station smells like burnt coffee and bureaucracy. Kael sits in an interrogation room, hands folded on the metal table, posture relaxed despite the circumstances. He's been here for 90 minutes. No charges filed. No arrest. Just questions he answers with the precision of someone who's memorized every legal loophole. The detective across from him, a woman in her 40s with steel gray hair and exhausted eyes, taps her pen against a notepad. "You're telling me you just happened to be in that cafe when it was attacked?" "Yes. And you just happened to shield civilians?" "Instinct. Instinct," she repeats flatly. "Mr. Draven, your record is concerning. Multiple investigations. No convictions. associates with known criminal enterprises. And yet here you are, playing hero. Kael's expression doesn't flicker. Am I being charged with something? The detective's jaw tightens. She knows what he knows, without evidence, without witnesses willing to testify. She has nothing. The cafe's security cameras were conveniently destroyed in the attack. The waiter gave a statement praising Kael's actions. Even the responding officers noted he cooperated fully. "You're free to go," she finally says. "But Mr. Draven, whatever you're involved in, it's escalating. People are going to die." "They always do," Kael answers quietly. He stands, collects his belongings, and walks out of the station into cold December air. The sun has set. Holiday lights twinkle along the street, cheerful and oblivious to the violence simmering beneath the city's surface. Marcus waits by a black SUV, arms crossed, expression grim. He's built like a linebacker. 6'2", 240 pounds of muscle and loyalty. Kael's second in command for 12 years. "Boss," Marcus says by way of greeting. Kael climbs into the passenger seat. The door closes, muffling the sounds of traffic and distant carolers. Inside, the vehicle smells like leather and gun oil. "Talk," Kael orders. Marcus pulls into traffic before answering. Amara Hayes, 34, former ATF agent, specialized in undercover operations. Resigned 6 years ago after her husband was killed. No current employment on record, but bank statements show irregular cash deposits. She's working something, looking for me. Yeah, and she's gotten close before. Detroit 2 years ago, Baltimore 8 months back. She's been tracking your movements. Kael processes this information with clinical detachment. A grieving widow turned vigilante. Dangerous combination of training and motivation. The husband. Marcus's expression darkens. Jamal Hayes, ATF agent, same as his wife. Deep cover in a gun trafficking ring. His death was ruled collateral damage during your Detroit operation. But he pauses, choosing words carefully. "I pulled the original case file. It doesn't add up." "Explain." Jamal Hayes was shot 3 times. Close range. Execution style. Your crew used distance weapons that night. Rifles, not handguns. And the autopsy report was sealed by federal order 48 hours after his death. Kael's hands curl into fists. He knows what sealed federal records mean. Cover up. Conspiracy. Someone powerful wanted the truth buried. "Who sealed it?" he asks. Assistant Director Richard Voss. ATF brass. He retired 4 years ago. Currently living in the Hamptons on a government pension that shouldn't afford his lifestyle. Kael commits the name to memory. Richard Voss. The man who destroyed a family and let Kael take the blame. "The kid," Marcus continues. Zavi Hayes, 6 years old. Attends Lincoln Elementary. Mother works 3 part-time jobs to keep them afloat. They're barely surviving, boss. And someone's been watching their apartment. Kael's blood runs cold. "Who?" "Don't know yet. But it's professional surveillance. Cameras, pattern tracking. Whoever attacked the cafe today knew you'd be there. Which means they knew the kid would approach you." The implications settle like lead in Kael's chest. This wasn't random violence. This was orchestrated. Someone wanted Kael and Zavi in the same place, at the same time, for a reason he doesn't yet understand. "Where's the woman now?" Kael asks. "Took her kid and disappeared. No credit card activity. No phone pings. She knows how to vanish. Of course she does. Former ATF, paranoid, protective. She'll have contingency plans layered on top of emergency protocols. But she's also exhausted, under-resourced, and caring for a 6-year-old who just watched his world explode. She'll make a mistake. They always do. Find her," Kael orders. "But don't approach. Just eyes." Marcus glances at him, surprise flickering across his features. "Boss, if she's tracking you, she's a liability. We could." "No." The word lands with finality. Marcus knows better than to argue, but confusion lingers in his expression. Kael Draven doesn't protect enemies. He eliminates them. Swift, clean, permanent. But Zavi's face flashes through Kael's mind. Wide eyes, trembling hands. Thank you. She's not the enemy, Kael says quietly. She's a victim, and I'm going to find out who made her one. Marcus navigates through traffic in silence, processing this new variable in his boss's behavior. Finally, he asks, "What about the boy?" Kael stares out the window at holiday decorations and families bundled against the cold. A world he stopped belonging to 15 years ago when trust became a weapon used against him. "The boy invited me to Christmas dinner," he says. Marcus nearly drives into a parked car. "What?" "Before the attack, he sat at my table, said he was lonely, asked me to come to his house for Christmas." Silence stretches between them, heavy with implications neither man wants to voice. "Boss," Marcus says carefully, "you can't. I know. Getting involved with civilians, especially a kid, I know. They'll use him against you, against us. This whole thing could be a setup. I know." But knowing doesn't change the ache in Kael's chest. Doesn't erase the memory of small hands clutching his jacket. Doesn't silence the question that's been haunting him since he walked out of that cafe. When did I become the kind of man a child runs from instead of to? Marcus pulls up outside Kael's penthouse. 40 stories of steel and glass overlooking the city he controls from the shadows. An empire built on violence and strategy. Kael climbs out, then pauses with one hand on the door. "Marcus, I want everything on Richard Voss. Bank records, travel history, known associates. And I want to know who benefits from Jamal Hayes being dead and me taking the blame." "On it, boss." Kael closes the door and watches the SUV disappear into traffic. Then he turns toward his building, toward the empty penthouse that's never felt like home, toward another night of silence and planning. But before he can take a step, his phone buzzes. Unknown number. He considers ignoring it. Considers the operational security breach of answering a call from an unidentified source. Then he sees the message preview. "You don't know the whole story. And if you want my son to live, you'll stop looking for answers. Amara, should Kael stop investigating or keep digging? Drop your choice below." Kael stares at the message for 10 seconds. His thumb hovers over the screen, weighing options. Reply and confirm she has leverage. Ignore and prove he can be dismissed. Call and risk a trace that could lead enemies straight to her. He does none of these things. Instead, he types coffee. Tomorrow, 8 a.m., same cafe. Then he shuts off his phone completely and goes inside. The penthouse is exactly as he left it this morning. Immaculate, impersonal, cold. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city. Leather furniture arranged with geometric precision. Not a single photograph, not a splash of color, not a hint that a human being lives here. Kael pours 2 fingers of whiskey and stands at the window, watching lights twinkle across Manhattan's skyline. Somewhere down there, Amara Hayes is hiding with her son. Somewhere, Richard Voss is living comfortably on blood money. Somewhere, the people who attacked the cafe are planning their next move. And Kael is caught in the center of a conspiracy he didn't know existed until 6 hours ago. He drinks. The whiskey burns, familiar and grounding. His mind replays the cafe attack frame by frame. The precision of the shooting. The deliberate targeting of Zavi. The sedan circling back despite police response times. They wanted the boy dead. But why? Zavi is 6 years old. No criminal connections, no strategic value, no reason for a professional hit team to waste resources on him unless killing him sends a message. To Amara, Kael's jaw clenches. He sees it now. The pattern. Jamal Hayes is murdered and Kael takes the blame. Amara spends 6 years hunting the wrong man. And just when she gets close enough to be a problem, her son is threatened. The message is clear. Stop investigating or lose everything. But there's a flaw in the strategy. They didn't account for Kael Draven refusing to play his assigned role. He finishes the whiskey and sets the glass down with a soft click. Then he walks to his office, a room he never brings associates into, where files and ledgers and contingency plans are stored in encrypted drives and hidden compartments. He pulls out a laptop and starts digging. Richard Voss, Assistant Director, ATF. 30-year career. Sealed the Hayes case file. Retired early with unexplained wealth. Kael accesses databases he legally shouldn't have access to. Financial records appear on screen, accounts in the Caymans, real estate purchases under shell companies, a lifestyle incompatible with government salary. Someone paid Voss to bury the truth. But who? Kael cross-references dates. Jamal Hayes died 7 years ago in Detroit. Voss sealed the file. 6 months later, Voss made a $2 million deposit into an offshore account. 3 months after that, he retired and purchased a mansion in the Hamptons. Timeline established. Motive clear. Now for the source. Kael spends 3 hours following money trails through corporate labyrinths and international transfers. His eyes burn. His fingers ache. But he doesn't stop because somewhere in this digital maze is the name of the person who destroyed a family and framed him for it. Finally, at 2 in the morning, he finds it. A single transfer from a corporation called Titan Security Solutions, a private military contractor with ties to gun trafficking, weapons smuggling, and half a dozen federal investigations that mysteriously vanished. Owned by a man named Vincent Cross. Kael leans back in his chair, processing. Vincent Cross, former Special Forces. Built Titan Security into a billion-dollar empire by operating in legal gray zones and silencing anyone who got too close to the truth, including ATF agents. Jamal Hayes wasn't collateral damage. He was an obstacle, and Voss was paid to cover it up while framing Kael's operation as the guilty party. Convenient, clean, perfect, except Kael survived, and Amara never stopped looking for justice, which means Cross has 2 problems now. A widowed ATF agent who knows how to investigate, and a crime lord who doesn't appreciate being used as a scapegoat. Kael closes the laptop and stands. His reflection stares back from the dark window, ink climbing his neck, eyes shadowed with exhaustion. A man who's built a life on being untouchable. But touch is exactly what Zavi offered. A small hand reaching across the table. An invitation to Christmas dinner. A question asked with devastating innocence. Why are you alone? Kael had no answer then. He still doesn't. But he knows what he's going to do. He's going to meet Amara tomorrow. He's going to tell her the truth. And then he's going to destroy Vincent Cross piece by piece until there's nothing left but ash and regret. Not for redemption, not for forgiveness, but because a 6-year-old boy said thank you, and Kael can't remember the last time anyone looked at him like he was worth saving. His phone, still powered off, sits on the desk like a live grenade. He knows what will happen when he turns it back on. Messages from Marcus, updates on surveillance, maybe another text from Amara, threatening or pleading or both. But there might also be something else. A message from people who now understand Kael Draven isn't going to disappear quietly. He powers on the phone. 3 missed calls from Marcus. 7 texts about security protocols and personnel movements. And 1 message from an unknown number that makes his blood turn to ice. A photo. Zavi and Amara walking down a dark street. The angle suggests the shooter was close. 10 feet, maybe less. Below the image, a single sentence. Christmas is 2 weeks away. Will the boy live to see it? Does Zavi survive? Comment yes or a no. The phone shatters against the wall. Plastic and glass explode in a spray of fragments that rain down onto hardwood floors. Kael's chest heaves with barely controlled rage, every muscle in his body coiled tight enough to snap bone. They photographed the boy. Got within 10 feet. Could have killed them both and chose to send a warning instead. Kael crosses the room in 4 strides and retrieves what's left of the phone. The screen is destroyed, but the SIM card might be salvageable. He needs Marcus to trace the message, track the metadata, find any digital fingerprint that will lead him to the photographer. But even as he thinks it, he knows the truth. These people are professionals. They won't leave traces. He pulls out a backup phone from his desk drawer. He keeps 6 at all times, an old habit from years of staying 3 steps ahead of federal investigations. Within 30 seconds, he has Marcus on the line. They sent a photo, Kael says without preamble. The woman and her kid. Recent. Close range. Marcus swears viciously on the other end. When? 5 minutes ago. I need everything. Traffic cameras, security footage, satellite imaging if you have to buy it. Find out where they are. Boss, if they're being tracked. Then we track the trackers, Kael interrupts. And we end this tonight. Silence hangs between them for 3 beats. You're going to war over a kid you met 6 hours ago, Marcus finally says. Not a question, an observation. I'm going to war over being used, Kael corrects. But the words taste like lies even as he speaks them. Because he's seen war. He's orchestrated wars. He's burned entire operations to ash over matters of pride and territory and respect. This feels different. This feels personal in a way that has nothing to do with strategy and everything to do with the way Zavi looked at him and said thank you. Get me answers, Kael orders. I want names, locations, and weak points. And Marcus, go loud. I want everyone in this city to know someone made a mistake. He ends the call and stands at the window again, staring down at the city that thinks it knows him. The crime lord, the untouchable alpha. The man who controls empires from the shadows. None of them know the truth. He's been running for 15 years from the memory of trust betrayed. From a woman who smiled while loading a gun. From the moment he learned that caring makes you vulnerable and vulnerability gets you killed. But Zavi didn't care about Kael's reputation. Didn't flinch from the tattoos or the aura or the violence radiating off him like heat. Just saw someone lonely and offered connection. Kael's reflection stares back at him. A monster trying to remember what it felt like to be human. His phone buzzes. A text from Marcus with an address and a single word. Confirmed. Kael grabs his jacket and heads for the door. The night swallows him whole as he steps onto the street. Cold air bites through leather. His breath mists in front of his face. Holiday lights cast everything in red and green, festive and oblivious. He walks 3 blocks to where Marcus waits with the SUV. No words are exchanged as Kael climbs into the passenger seat. Marcus simply puts the vehicle in gear and drives. East Side, Marcus says. Old industrial district. She's holed up in a warehouse that used to be a textile factory. Smart choice. Multiple exits. Clear sight lines. Defensible position. And the surveillance? 2 vehicles rotating shifts. Professional setup. They're not trying to hide anymore. Because they don't have to, Kael realizes. They sent the photo as a taunt. A demonstration of power. We can reach them anytime we want. Who's running the operation? Kael asks. Marcus's jaw tightens. Best guess? Vincent Cross outsourced to a firm called Blackridge Tactical. Former military contractors. They specialize in intimidation and extraction. Kael commits the name to memory. Blackridge Tactical. Another piece added to the board. How many operators? At least 6 on rotation. Maybe more. 6 trained operators against 1 crime lord and his second-in-command. Bad odds by any metric. Kael smiles. He's always preferred bad odds. The SUV pulls up 2 blocks from the warehouse. Kael and Marcus exit silently, checking weapons with practiced efficiency. Kael carries a Glock 19, reliable, accurate, 15 rounds. Marcus has a tactical shotgun slung across his back and a knife strapped to his thigh. They move through shadows like predators stalking prey. The warehouse looms ahead, for stories of crumbling brick and broken windows. 1 vehicle is parked across the street, engine idling, windows dark. Kael spots the second vehicle on the north side, same setup. He signals Marcus to circle around while he approaches from the front. But before either of them can move, a voice cuts through the darkness. Stop right there. Amara steps out from behind a dumpster, gun raised and pointed directly at Kael's chest. Her stance is textbook. Weight balanced, arms steady, finger outside the trigger guard but ready. Former ATF training on full display. You led them straight to us, she hisses. Kael raises his hands slowly, non-threatening. I didn't. They were already here. Liar. You show up and suddenly there are surveillance teams everywhere. You think I'm stupid. I think you're terrified, Kael answers quietly. And I think you're about to make a mistake that gets your son killed. Her finger slides toward the trigger. Don't you dare talk about my son. Then lower the weapon and listen. Why would I listen to the man who murdered my husband? The words hit like a physical blow, but Kael doesn't flinch. Because I didn't, and I can prove it. Amara's eyes narrow. The gun doesn't lower. You're lying. Richard Voss, Vincent Cross, Titan Security Solutions. Your husband was investigating gun trafficking. He got too close. They killed him and paid Voss to frame my operation. Something flickers across Amara's face. Recognition, doubt, hope wrestling with 6 years of grief and rage. You're saying you didn't pull the trigger, she says slowly. I'm saying I wasn't even there when it happened. My crew was running a different operation 3 blocks away. But someone needed a scapegoat with a reputation violent enough to be believable. Amara's hands shake. The gun wavers. If that's true, it is. Then who killed Jamal? Kael meets her gaze steadily. Blackridge Tactical. Same people watching your son right now. The gun lowers an inch. Then a spotlight explodes across the alley, blinding them both. Will Amara trust Kael in time? Drop your prediction below. Boots pound concrete. Kael tackles Amara sideways as gunfire erupts where they were standing. Bullets punch through metal dumpsters with sharp cracks. They hit the ground hard, rolling into cover behind a brick wall. Marcus opens fire from his position, shotgun booming through the darkness. Glass shatters. Someone screams. The spotlight swings wildly before dying in a shower of sparks. How many? Kael shouts over the chaos. 4 from the north, Marcus answers. 2 more coming from the vehicles. 6 operators, all armed, all converging on their position. Amara scrambles to her feet, gun up and tracking targets with mechanical precision. Where's Zavi? Inside, she gasps. 3rd floor, barricaded. Kael's mind races. The boy is alone, scared, and trapped inside a building that's about to become a war zone. Every instinct screams to get him out first. But if they move now, they're exposed. We need to draw them away from the warehouse, Kael says. Or we end them here, Marcus counters. More gunfire. Closer. They're being flanked. Kael makes a decision. Marcus, suppressing fire. Amara with me. He doesn't wait for confirmation. Just breaks from cover and sprints toward the warehouse entrance, trusting Amara's training will kick in. She follows half a second later. Bullets chase them across open ground. Kael feels one pass close enough to his head that displaced air ruffles his hair. They hit the door together, shoulders slamming into rusted metal that gives way with a groan. Inside, the warehouse is dark and cavernous. Moonlight filters through broken skylights. Old machinery hulks in shadows like sleeping monsters. The smell of rust and decay hangs heavy. Zavi, Amara calls. No answer. Kael's throat tightens. He sweeps the space with tactical precision, identifying cover points and potential ambush positions. Which floor? 3rd, east corner. They move toward a metal staircase, boots echoing on concrete. Behind them, gunfire continues, Marcus holding the line, buying them time. But time is running out. Kael takes the stairs 3 at a time, Amara right behind him. 2nd floor. 3rd floor. East corner. A door reinforced with furniture and debris. Zavi, it's Mom, Amara says, voice shaking. Open up, baby. Sounds of movement inside. Something heavy dragged aside. Then the door cracks open and Zavi's face appears, streaked with tears. Mom! He throws himself into her arms. She catches him, pressing her face into his hair, whispering reassurances that everything's okay even though nothing is okay. Kael stands guard at the stairwell, listening to the battle below. Marcus is holding his own, but 6 against 1 won't last. We need to move, Kael says. Amara lifts her head. Her eyes are red, but her jaw is set with determination. Where? Out. Fast. Before they realize we're inside. And go where? They'll follow. Let them, Kael answers. I'm done running. He pulls out his phone and sends a single text to Marcus. Fall back. Rendezvous point 3. Then he turns to Zavi and crouches to eye level. Remember me? The boy nods, lower lip trembling. You saved me. In the cafe. I'm going to save you again. But I need you to be brave. Can you do that? Zavi glances at his mother, who nods encouragement. Then he looks back at Kael and squares his small shoulders. Yes, pride flashes through Kael's chest. This child has more courage than most men he's worked with. Good. Stay between your mom and me. Don't stop moving. Understand. Understand. They descend the stairs in formation. Kael leads, weapon raised. Amara follows with Zavi pressed against her side. They move in silence, communicating through hand signals and shared instinct. Ground floor. Almost there. Then a figure steps out from behind machinery. Not Blackridge Tactical. Someone else. Someone Kael recognizes from files and surveillance photos. Vincent Cross. He's exactly what the dossier promised. 6 feet tall, military bearing, gray threading through close-cropped hair, expensive suit under a tactical vest, gun held with casual confidence. Kael Draven, Vincent says pleasantly. We finally meet. Kael positions himself between Vincent and Amara. You sent armed contractors to threaten a 6-year-old. I sent a message. You chose not to listen. I'm listening now. Vincent smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. Too late. You've become a liability. You and the woman both. Can't have loose ends investigating things best left buried. Jamal Hayes was investigating your operation, Kael states. He got too close. You killed him and framed me. Smart man. Shame you figured it out 7 years too late. Amara's breathing hitches behind him. Kael hears the moment her understanding crystallizes. This man killed her husband. This man destroyed her family. This man is standing 10 feet away and smiling about it. Why? She whispers. Vincent shrugs. Business. Your husband was going to expose a very lucrative arrangement. Couldn't allow that. And Mr. Draven here was the perfect scapegoat. Violent reputation, criminal enterprise, wrong place at the right time. You used me, Kael says flatly. I borrowed your mythology. Nothing personal. It's personal now. Vincent's smile fades. You should have stayed out of it. Should have let the woman hunt ghosts. Now I have to clean up 3 loose ends instead of 1. He raises his weapon. Kael fires first. Will Vincent survive? Comment your guess. The shot echoes like thunder. Vincent stumbles backward, hand clutching his shoulder where blood blooms across expensive fabric. His gun clatters to the concrete. Rage twists his features into something monstrous. Kill them, he roars. Operators flood into the warehouse from multiple entrances. 4, 5, 6, more than intelligence suggested. They move with coordinated precision, spreading out to cut off escape routes. Kael grabs Amara and Zavi, hauling them toward the east wall where a loading dock door hangs half open. Bullets chase them across the floor. Metal machinery explodes into sparks where rounds impact. They hit the door and tumble through into an alley. Marcus is there, engine running, back door open. Move, move, he shouts. They pile into the SUV. Kael throws himself into the passenger seat as Marcus slams the accelerator. Tires scream against asphalt. The vehicle fishtails before finding traction and launching forward. Gunfire erupts behind them. The rear window shatters. Zavi screams. Amara covers him with her body, pressing him down into the footwell. Contact rear. Marcus barks. Kael twists in his seat, returning fire through the broken window. 2 pursuing vehicles, black sedans with shooters leaning out windows. Professional chase tactics. He empties his magazine into the lead vehicle's engine block. Smoke erupts. The sedan swerves violently and crashes into a parked car with a sickening crunch of metal. 1 down. But the second sedan accelerates, closing the distance. Marcus takes a corner at 60 miles per hour. The SUV tilts dangerously, 2 wheels leaving the ground before slamming back down. Zavi whimpers. Amara whispers reassurances Kael can't hear over the chaos. They're heading toward the bridge. Open road. Fewer civilians, which means fewer witnesses when this ends. The sedan pulls alongside them. A shooter leans out, automatic weapon raised. Brace! Marcus yells. He jerks the wheel sideways, ramming the sedan. Metal screams. Paint scrapes. The sedan's driver overcorrects and slams into the guardrail with explosive force. Sparks shower into the night. The bridge stretches ahead, empty and dark. Marcus floors it. 80, 90, 100 miles per hour. Behind them, the sedan is gone. But ahead, headlights bloom in the darkness. A roadblock. 3 vehicles parked across both lanes. Armed figures standing behind them. They knew our route, Marcus says grimly. Kael's mind races through options. Can't stop. Can't turn around. Can't ram them, he orders. Boss, at this speed wheel. Ram them. Marcus's jaw clenches. Then he nods and grips the wheel tighter. The speedometer climbs. 110, 120. Amara realizes what's happening. We're not going to. Hold him tight, Kael interrupts. Don't let go. The roadblock rushes toward them. Figures scatter. Guns open fire, but it's too late. The SUV hits the center vehicle like a battering ram. The world explodes into noise and violence. Metal crumples. Glass shatters. The airbags deploy with percussive force. The SUV punches through the roadblock and keeps going, momentum carrying them 50 yards before physics wins. They spin. Once, twice, 3 times. Then slam to a stop facing backward. Kael tastes blood. His ears ring. Everything hurts. But he's alive. Marcus, he croaks. Still breathing, boss. The woman. Here. Amara gasps from the back. We're okay. Zavi. Scared. The boy whispers. But okay. Kael forces his door open and stumbles out. The SUV is destroyed. Hood crumpled, engine smoking, all windows blown out. Behind them, the roadblock is chaos. One vehicle flipped onto its side. Armed figures regrouping. They have maybe 30 seconds. Out, Kael orders. Now, everyone evacuates the wreckage. Marcus limps, favoring his left leg. Amara has a cut above her eye, but she's carrying Zavi, moving with adrenaline-fueled determination. Kael spots an access road leading off the bridge. This way, they run. Behind them, shouts and gunfire. Ahead, only darkness and the city lights in the distance. Kael's lungs burn. His vision swims. But he doesn't stop because stopping means dying, and dying means Zavi doesn't make it to Christmas. They reach the access road and plunge into industrial wasteland. Abandoned buildings, rusted equipment, shadows that could hide anything. Kael leads them to a warehouse with a partially collapsed roof. They slip inside and take cover behind a concrete pillar. For the first time in 30 minutes, silence. Everyone gasps for breath. Zavi cries softly into his mother's shoulder. Marcus checks his weapons with shaking hands. Kael's phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. He opens it and his blood turns to ice. A photo. His penthouse. The door kicked in. His office ransacked. Files scattered. Computers destroyed. Below the image, you can't hide. You can't run. And Christmas is 11 days away. They hit my home, Kael says quietly. Marcus swears. Amara closes her eyes. Zavi just trembles. Kael stares at the photo and makes a decision that will either save them or doom them all. He stands. We're not running anymore. Amara looks up. What? We're going to war. All of us. Together. Against an entire organization? Marcus asks. Boss, that's suicide. Maybe, but they made a mistake. What mistake? Kael looks down at Zavi. At the boy who invited him to Christmas dinner, who trusted him despite every reason not to, who represents everything Kael stopped believing in 15 years ago. They made it personal. Is going to war the right choice? Let us know what you think. The safe house smells like mildew and forgotten time. Marcus found it 3 years ago during a contingency planning session. A 2-bedroom apartment above a closed bodega in Queens. No lease, no utilities under real names. Cash payments to a landlord who doesn't ask questions. Perfect for disappearing. Kael watches Amara settle Zavi onto a worn couch. The boy is asleep almost instantly, exhaustion overriding fear. She brushes curls from his forehead with gentle fingers, her expression equal parts tenderness and devastation. Marcus stands at the window monitoring the street below. Clear so far, but they'll find us eventually. I know, Kael says. He's not planning to hide, just regroup. Amara joins them near the window, keeping her voice low so Zavi won't wake. You said you were going to war. What does that mean? Kael pulls out his phone. Another backup, his 4th today, and opens encrypted files. Vincent Cross runs Titan Security, but he's got financial backing. Partners who benefit from keeping his operation quiet. Who? Marcus asks. 3 names. Senator Patricia Langford. She's on the Armed Services Committee. Defense contracts flow through her office. Robert Chun, CEO of Meridian Arms Manufacturing. They supply Titan Security's weapons. And the 3rd, he pauses. Richard Voss, your friend from ATF. Amara's face hardens. He's not my friend. He was on the take. Vincent paid him to seal your husband's case. But Voss has been receiving payments for 7 years, which means he's still involved. The implications settle like stones. If we take down Vincent, the others protect themselves and the operation continues, Marcus summarizes. We need all of them. Simultaneously, Kael agrees, so they can't warn each other. Amara crosses her arms. 3 targets, 3 locations. How many people do we have? Us, my crew. Maybe 15 total if I call in every favor. Against Blackridge Tactical, Private Security, and Federal Protection? She shakes her head. We'll be dead before we get close. Not if we're smart. Kael opens another file. Blueprints appear on screen. Voss's mansion in the Hamptons, Chen's Manhattan office, the senator's DC townhouse. We don't hit them with force, he explains. We hit them with evidence. Vincent kept records. Insurance against his partners turning on him. If we find those records and release them publicly, the whole conspiracy collapses. Where are the records? Marcus asks. Titan Security Headquarters. Downtown. 40 stories of glass and steel and the most advanced security system money can buy. Silence stretches between them. Finally, Amara speaks. That's insane. Yes. We'll never get inside. Probably not. And if we fail, my son dies. Kael meets her gaze steadily. If we don't try, he dies anyway. Vincent won't stop until everyone who knows the truth is buried. Amara looks at Zavi sleeping peacefully on the couch. His small chest rises and falls. His hand curls around a pillow. Innocent. Trusting. Why are you doing this? She whispers. You could walk away. Disappear. You've got resources, connections. Why risk everything for us? Kael doesn't have a good answer. Or maybe he does, but it's buried under 15 years of survival instincts that scream caring is weakness. Your son invited me to Christmas dinner, he finally says. First invitation I've received in a decade. Seems rude to let him down. Amara's eyes search his face for deception, for strategy, for whatever game she thinks he's playing. But Kael's expression is stone, cold, final. Okay, she says quietly. Tell me the plan. They spend the next hour plotting. Marcus pulls up satellite images. Amara identifies security vulnerabilities from her ATF training. Kael coordinates timing and logistics with the precision that built his empire. It's insane, impossible, suicide by any reasonable metric. But reasonable stopped applying the moment Zavi said thank you in a shattered cafe. Dawn breaks outside the window, painting the city in shades of gold and pink. Somewhere out there, Vincent Cross is regrouping. Blackridge Tactical is searching. The conspiracy that killed Jamal Hayes continues spinning. But for the first time in 7 years, the victims are fighting back. Kael stands and checks his weapon. "We move tonight. Titan Security Headquarters. In and out in 20 minutes. And if we get caught?" Marcus asks. "We don't. Boss, we don't," Kael repeats. "Because that boy," he gestures toward Zavi, "is going to wake up on Christmas morning. And I'm going to be there when he does." Amara inhales sharply. "You're serious?" "I don't joke about Christmas dinner." For the first time since they met, Amara smiles. It's small and sad and doesn't last long. But it's real. "All right," she says. "Let's burn this conspiracy to the ground." They shake hands. A crime lord, a former federal agent, and a loyal second-in-command. The most unlikely alliance Kael has ever formed. And possibly the last. His phone buzzes one final time. A message from Vincent. "Last chance. Walk away or everyone you care about dies." Kael types a response. "I don't walk away, and you just made me care." He sends it and shuts off the phone completely. No more messages. No more warnings. No more running. Just war. Do you think they'll succeed? Drop yes or an O in the comments. The lobby is glass and marble and wealth. Kael walks through Titan Security's front entrance at exactly 9 p.m., wearing a stolen maintenance uniform and carrying a toolbox full of weapons. His ID badge, forged by Marcus 3 hours ago, swipes clean at the security checkpoint. The guard barely glances up. "Elevator maintenance?" "Stuck on 37. Kael lies smoothly. "Third bank. Watch the cameras." Kael nods and walks toward the elevators like he belongs. Behind him, Amara enters through a side door wearing a catering uniform. Zavi is safe with one of Marcus's most trusted operators. Ex-military, 3 kids of her own, would die before letting harm reach the boy. Marcus is stationed outside in a delivery van, monitoring communications and ready to extract if everything goes wrong, which it probably will. Kael rides the elevator to the 37th floor. His heart rate stays steady. His hands don't shake. He's done this 1,000 times. Walked into enemy territory, executed the mission, disappeared before anyone knew he was there. But tonight feels different. Tonight, failure means Zavi grows up without a mother. The elevator doors open onto executive offices. Empty corridors. Security cameras tracking his movement. Kael keeps his head down, playing the role. He reaches the central server room exactly 4 minutes after entry. The door requires a keycard he doesn't have and a biometric scan he can't fake. Unless he pulls out a small device Marcus acquired from contacts in Eastern Europe. Technically illegal, definitely effective. He attaches it to the scanner and waits. 30 seconds. 60. 90. The lock clicks. Kael slips inside and closes the door behind him. The server room hums with electronics and cold air. Rows of machines process data that keeps Vincent's empire running. And somewhere in this digital fortress are the files that will destroy him. Kael connects a hard drive to the main terminal and begins downloading. Progress bar crawls across the screen. 5%. 10%. Too slow. His earpiece crackles. "Marcus. Boss, we've got movement. 3 vehicles incoming. Looks like Blackridge Tactical." Kael's jaw clenches. "How long?" 5 minutes. The download sits at 20%. "Amara." Kael says into his mic, "Status. In position," she responds. "But if they lock down the building, they won't. Keep moving." 30%. 40. Kael's fingers drum against the terminal. Every instinct screams to grab what he has and run. But partial evidence won't be enough. He needs everything. His phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. He opens it with cold certainty about what he'll find. A photo. The safe house. Zavi visible through a window. Below the image. Found him. Kael's world narrows to a single pinpoint of rage. They found Zavi. Despite every precaution, every protocol, every layer of protection. They found him, and in that moment, Kael makes a choice that will define the rest of his life. He abandons the download. leaves the evidence incomplete, chooses the boy over the mission. "Marcus," he says, voice deadly calm. "They found Zavi." Silence for 3 seconds. Then, "On my way. Amara, abort. Meet at extraction point 3. "What about the files?" "Forget them. Move. Now." Kael runs. Maintenance disguise abandoned. Weapon out. Every second matters. He hits the stairwell at full sprint, taking stairs 4 at a time. 37 floors. 36. 35. His lungs burn. His legs scream. But he doesn't slow because somewhere across the city, armed operators are converging on a child who trusted him, who invited him to Christmas dinner, who said thank you like it meant something. Kael explodes through the ground floor exit into cold December air. Marcus's van screeches to a stop beside him. He throws himself inside. "Drive," he orders. Marcus doesn't ask questions, just punches the accelerator and they rocket into traffic. Amara's voice crackles through the radio. "I'm out, heading to the safe house." "No," Kael snaps. "Too exposed. Go to extraction point 3. "My son is at the safe house." "I know. I'm going to get him." "Like hell you are. Amara." His voice carries the weight of 15 years commanding men in life or death situations. "Trust me." Silence stretches for an eternity. Then, "Don't let him die." "I won't." The van weaves through Manhattan traffic. Marcus runs every red light, uses bus lanes, drives like the world is ending. Because for one small boy it might be. Kael's phone rings. Vincent Cross. He answers. "If you touch him, you'll what?" Vincent interrupts. "You had a chance to walk away. Multiple chances. You chose this. Let the boy go. Your fight is with me. My fight is with anyone who threatens my operation." That includes nosy federal agents, their children, and crime lords with sudden moral compasses. The van takes a corner on 2 wheels. "I'm offering a trade," Kael says. "Me for the boy." Vincent laughs. "You're offering nothing I can't take." The line goes dead. Kael stares at his phone, mind racing through scenarios. Hostage rescue, tactical insertion, negotiation. All of them end with casualties. Unless, "Marcus, how many people can you get to Queens in the next 10 minutes?" "Everyone we've got. Maybe 20. "Do it. Tell them full tactical. No holding back." "Boss, that's..." "Do it." Marcus makes the calls. Within 3 minutes, Kael's entire network is mobilizing. Soldiers, enforcers, people who owe him favors. They pour out of the shadows and converge on a single address. The safe house, where Zavi is waiting, where Blackridge Tactical is preparing, where everything ends. The van screeches to a stop 2 blocks away. Kael exits with weapon raised. Around him, figures emerge from darkness. 20 becomes 30, becomes 40. An army built on loyalty and fear and the shared understanding that their boss never loses. Tonight can't be the exception. Kael advances toward the safe house. Windows are dark. Street is quiet. Too quiet. They're already inside. He signals for his crew to surround the building. Cover every exit. Prepare for breach. Then his phone buzzes one final time. A photo. Zavi sitting on the couch where he fell asleep. Terrified, crying, but alive. And standing behind him, gun pressed against the back of his head, Vincent Cross. Below the image, a single sentence that stops Kael's heart. "Come inside alone or I pull the trigger." Kael stands at the threshold of war and salvation. 40 armed operators behind him. 1 terrified child inside. And a choice that will either redeem 15 years of darkness or confirm he's the monster everyone believes him to be. He lowers his weapon, steps toward the door, and whispers into his mic. "If I don't walk out in 5 minutes, burn it all down." Then he enters the building, alone. The door closes behind him with the finality of a coffin lid. And somewhere in the darkness, Zavi's small voice trembles. "You came back. Will Kael save Zavi? Will they finally have that Christmas dinner?" Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss part 2 of this story. Drop your theories in the comments. Your thoughts inspire us and help others see hope in impossible situations. Together, we create stories that matter.